Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce RTX 4080 in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. This one is the Founders Edition model of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs over in Tech Power-Up's GPU Z. Resizable bar is also enabled, and we got 16GB of GDDR6X to work with. And over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 9 7950X 3D and 32GB of DDR5 6000MHz RAM in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? First, let's go over the settings. I'm starting at 1080p, and I'm also going to test this one at 1440p, 4K, and 8K resolutions. And I'm using DLSS right here, although the scaling mode is off, so it means that we're not really utilizing any upscaling at the moment. And over on the graphics settings, we're using the Ultra settings preset. The only thing I changed was motion blur. That's why it says custom there and not Ultra. But everything else is basically set to the highest setting, aside from a couple of them. But this is the Ultra preset. Now, over here where you actually start inside of this little area, this construction site right here. And the graphics inside of here aren't really that amazing, but once you play for like 5 to 10 minutes and play the first mission basically and get outside, look at this. Damn, this looks extremely pretty. I wasn't expecting this game to look this good because from the trailers, it didn't seem like it was going to be this pretty. Obviously, and they needed to nail this part of the game because it's an Avatar game. It's all about the environment. And also, take a look at the HUD. You can actually choose between minimal HUD. That's what we have right here, an immersive HUD basically, or many more things on the HUD showing up if you prefer that. But of course, for these videos, no HUD is definitely the way to go, and maybe it's the way to go for everybody because it immerses you a lot more. Oh, what the heck is this? Okay, this is really pretty, guys. Holy crap! But this is an RTX 4080, and we're playing the game at 1080p. 1080p isn't really a resolution that's adequate for a card like this, obviously. Like, it's more meant towards 4K gaming, at least Nvidia says so. 1440p, I could also argue that this is a great card for that resolution, you know, if you really want high refresh rates in all of the games. But yeah, this game is pretty intensive apparently, especially on Ultra settings, and especially because of all of the vegetation. As you probably know already, vegetation is usually really intensive in games, and this being a huge forest basically, it's really intensive, obviously. Alright, but yeah, well, if you're running this game at 1080p on a 4080, you won't really have a problem. Let's stop it right there. 120 FPS average, buttery smooth experience. And yes, I'm using 60 Hz because the capture card captures better like this, all right? But now let's try some upscaling. Not that you need it, but it will be handy at higher resolutions. So you actually got 3 options in this game, which is very interesting. Off, fixed, which is the normal upscaling that you're used to, just setting DLSS to quality, for example, and have it run at 720p and then upscale to 1080p in the case of 1080p resolution. Or now we got this biased version, which is really interesting. It says upscaling, which is based on the fixed rendering resolution, but in addition biases it towards a 4K output resolution. Okay, so I'm gonna try this one out. The light flickers a little bit, but let's try the biased option here at 1080p, and I'm also going to use ultra quality under DLSS. That's interesting, you know, ultra quality DLSS, that's probably DLAA, right? No, I think it's actually scaling from a subscription expired again. This is the second time this has happened today. I bought the subscription Ubisoft Plus just for this game, and both times it says this: renew your game, it has expired. Might as well buy the freaking game at this point. All right, we're back here, guys. This is without DLSS. We're getting 131 frames per second, and if I set this to biased and ultra quality DLSS, which I thought was DLAA, because, you know, sometimes it says ultra quality and it's actually DLAA, we end up getting getting a little bit more FPS. As you can see, instead of 131, we're now at 148 or 49, which is an improvement. And I mean, in terms of graphical fidelity, maybe when you're moving, it's slightly softer or blurrier than it was previously at native resolution, but some other things I noticed were improved, like the water was slightly more noisy at native resolution. Now with these settings, it's looking a little bit better in my opinion. Let's start counting our FPS here again, and let's run around, I guess. If you want that little bit higher refresh rate of an experience, I guess you could use these settings at 1080p. Again, some things are gonna look slightly better, some other things are going to be looking slightly worse, but I mean, on a native 1080p monitor, you can't really tell much of a difference anyway, so might as well take the extra FPS. Oh, this is an outpost. This is an enemy outpost. It's kind of like Far Cry, isn't it? I've heard that this is a copy of Far Cry, actually. But you know, I'm fine with that, guys. I'm actually fine with the Far Cry gameplay here in an Avatar game. I think it might actually work kind of well. What is happening here? Am I dying? Oh, it's a cutscene. Okay, I'm gonna skip all of the cutscenes, guys, for obvious reasons. I don't want to spoil anything to you guys. But look at this. Over here, it's actually dropping into the lower 100s at times, especially up here. 108, look at that. It's actually dropping quite a bit, and this is with upscaling enabled. Damn, it is really intensive. As I told you, the game is pretty intensive, but I think it's also decently optimized given how it looks and the fact that it has zero stuttering and the fact that we're using ultra settings. You know, on low settings it might actually be very playable on something like a GTX 1060. The real humans are so funny in this game. Look at that. So small. Hello. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Damn, that's crazy. It just makes you realize that the arrows that we're using are just the size of them, basically. Damn, that's crazy. That's why they're so lethal. Oh, hello. How did you not notice me? Alright, well, that's it for 1080p. You know, I don't want to spend a ton of time here at this resolution because, again, a lot of people are going to play at higher resolutions with a 4080. So let's bump it up to 2560 by 1440 or 1440p resolution. I'm going to turn off the upscaling. Also, I forgot to tell you guys, but if you set it to Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3 or FSR 3, you can actually utilize frame generation, but with DLSS, you can't. So this is pretty interesting. Right? Nvidia came up with frame generation first, but you actually need to use FSR 3, which is a weaker implementation, in my opinion, of frame generation, but it should work. Okay, let's actually utilize it here on top of 1440p native. Oh boy, what happened? Oh, what is this? What? Failed to toggle. Okay. Oh, so when utilizing a capture card to record gameplay so we don't lose any performance, I can't use frame generation. Are you actually kidding me? It doesn't matter. We shouldn't really need frame generation anyways to have a smooth experience. Alright, let's start counting our FPS here at 1440p, and it seems like the 4080 is no longer a 4K gaming GPU. It is a 1440p gaming GPU at 60 plus frames per second in this title, at least. Again, this is using ultra settings. If you used another setting like high settings preset, for example, it should still look very, very good and you will gain more FPS. But I would just utilize DLSS quality or ultra quality instead of dropping the preset, because, you know, like, I haven't really tested high settings preset in this game, but ultra settings preset is extremely detailed, guys. Anyway, it hasn't really dropped from 60 FPS yet, even running around this area. Actually, I kind of want to go up there and take a look at that other area where it dropped to close to 100 frames per second at 1080p. Oh, wait a second. What the hell are these guys? Look at that. That's interesting. Can I kill it? Yes, I can. Wait. I'm so sorry. I feel bad now. Okay, so this is it, guys. Ooh, dropping into the 60s. But I mean, it won't really drop from 60 FPS. 64 right there. Maybe in an extremely intensive scenario, it will drop from 60 FPS. But again, remember that this is a forest area. It has a ton of little details, a little vegetation, and that's really, really intensive. So it's basically kind of worst case scenario maybe already. I don't know. Should we go inside of the water here? Is that intensive? I remember that in Starfield, your FPS dropped like crazy inside of a waterfall like this one. This not only looks 1,000 times better than Starfield's waterfall. It also does not drop our FPS, so it's well optimized. Great stuff, my friends. Alright, anyway, it doesn't drop from 60 FPS, so there's no need for us to utilize upscaling, but if you want to, well, the option is there. So let's try this out. Using biased upscaling, again, since we were above 60 FPS, might as well make it look the best it can, right? And ultra quality DLSS. Let's see. Alright. You know what? This actually removes the little trail that I was seeing around the arrow. Interesting. Let's start counting our FPS again. It's getting similar results as previously, I think. Come on, go away. Go away, please. Go away. I don't have time for this. I really want to grab the things that I'm supposed to grab so we can get out of here. Oh, there is a big one right there. There is a big one. Wait a second. Senses in combat. I don't want to do that. Alright, there we go. Oh, he's dead. I got him with one single shot. That's nice. Okay. Hello? You're down? Alright, there's another one there and another one there. Okay. I don't really like the red dots, you know. It would be even more immersive if they didn't have those red dots on top of them. Okay, I'm back here to this place, which is a very intensive place. I know it looks the same as the other ones, but again, we saw it dropping from 70 FPS around here, and now it's kind of the same almost, but it's not dipping into the 60s. Okay, maybe slightly only to 69. And over here, it actually dropped to 64 previously, but now it's well over 60 the entire time. Actually, well over 70, 99% of the time. So if you want to stay above 60 FPS, or 70 FPS, I guess, for the most part, I think you might want to use these settings. Also, in some other areas, you can get up to 100 frames per second, which is pretty sweet. It's just that other area right there, it was really, really intensive, apparently. But yeah, this works pretty damn well at 1440p. To be expected again. I still thought it was going to perform a little bit better, especially at native resolution. Maybe at like 80 to 100 instead of 60 to 80 FPS. But no worries. If you're playing at 1440p with a 4080, it's going to run extremely well on the ultra settings. Okay, let's play at the targeted resolution for the RTX 4080, which is 4K, 3840 by 2160, no upscaling, ultra settings still. I'm not touching the preset here, and oh my god, that's intensive. 30s! Holy crap, dude! I thought we'd get like 50 frames per second or something. 30s is way too low, but it looks absolutely ridiculous right now. This is insane. Look at the amount of detail in the image. Like, you can see the leaves of all of the trees, even those over there on the background. Oh my goodness. Volumetric fog as well. There's a lot of it here. I can even see like droplets of water or whatever. Not really droplets, but blobs of water from here dropping from the waterfall there. Damn, even while not zooming in. Textures are also insane. Look at that. That looks insane, aside from the shadows, though. The shadows could look a little bit better, for sure. At this point, I think even the 4090 will struggle. The 4090 is around like 30% faster than this one. It will probably get around like 60 FPS, 50 to 60 most of the time, maybe a little bit more, but it will definitely drop from 60, guys. That's insane. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to start counting our FPS. I'm so amazed at the graphics here. But, well, even though this drops into the high 30s at times, it might still be playable for a single-player game. I wouldn't do this, obviously, because with upscaling at 4K resolution, it kind of looks very, very similar or pretty much the same as native res. But still, for screenshots, this is gonna be insane, guys. Wow, look at that, dropping into the mid-30s over here in the most intensive area that we've come across today. Of course, I will play a little bit more of the story and unlock different areas in other GPUs. I'm not going to stay here the entire time like I am in this video. But yeah, this is pretty intensive over here, 35 sometimes. Right. So let's go ahead and try to use biased upscaling. I'm going to use quality here instead of ultra quality this time around. Let's see how much of a difference that makes. Ooh. Now we're at 60. All right, and it's looking fantastic still, guys. If I stand still, I can still spot all of those leaves, even in faraway trees like that. No softness, no blurriness. Little bit of screen tearing, by the way, because we're getting 60 frames per second and it's a 60 hertz capture card. So whenever you hit that 60 FPS mark, there is screen tearing. I'm sorry about that. Come on, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. There we go. There we go. I made it. Okay. We're going up, my friends, finally. But yeah, look at this. 80-something FPS over here. What about looking in this direction? Okay, it gets down into the 50s now. Right? Looking at this entire area, like draw distance is insane as well. Even when you zoom in, like sometimes in a lot of games, when you zoom in, you see more detail because of the LOD. All right, over here you can actually see there that there's a shadow. If you zoom in, there is no shadow and it actually renders the detail. But it's kind of insane that a lot of places are already fully loaded. Oh my goodness. So again, if you really want that 4K experience, this is it. This looks pretty much the same as native resolution and it's getting like 55 plus FPS all of the time. Let's go! Come on, there we go. Okay, that jump was really hard to make. But yeah, if this was a multiplayer shooter, I would not be fine with these FPS, you know? But since it's a single-player game, and with these breathtaking visuals, I will be fine with this, guys. Definitely. 60-something FPS most of the time is pretty good. With some drops into the 50s. Now it's actually dropping a little bit further. Okay. It's getting more intensive in this area, probably because of the outpost with the enemies and stuff. Alright, but it's still definitely very, very playable. Oh, we're inside now. I don't want to be inside. We get more FPS. I don't like to have more FPS. Shut up! Well, I do like to have more FPS, but it's not by being here in a less intensive area. Can we get out, please? Okay, I'm gonna try balanced DLSS this time around. That should be enough to put us above 60 FPS the entire time. And yes, it is. Look at that. We went from 65-ish FPS around here to 70, 75-ish. Remember, it was dropping from 60 FPS sometimes around this area. And now it still dips into the 50s, though. That's a little bit disappointing, actually. Thought it was going to stay above 60 all of the time, since it only dropped into the mid-50s previously, you know. Had quality DLSS. But it will stay above 60 FPS more often, for sure. So again, if you are one of those people who doesn't really mind a couple of FPS drops here and there from 60 frames per second, this is still a viable option. Balanced DLSS also looks insanely good. Even at the distance, there's no blurriness. I'm really impressed that at the distance, everything is still so detailed. Okay, what about performance DLSS at 4K resolution? I think it affects the shadows a little bit more, guys. Oh, these are dynamic shadows as well. Oh my god, that looks beautiful. Oh boy, this is so interesting. There are times of the day, and you can see everything changing dynamically. I hadn't noticed that. Performance DLSS is looking really pretty. Like, clouds are a bit shimmery, though. Especially at the distance, like over here. Nah, they're good. Over there, they're terrible. The detail of the leaves is still present there, even at a super high distance. That is so sick, but yeah, that's a little bit of a problem there with performance DLSS for sure. Didn't really notice that issue previously. Maybe there were no clouds, I don't know, but bit of a shame to see that. But still, if you can avoid looking at clouds, everything else is looking pretty amazing, guys. And now, since we're using DLSS performance and basically rendering the game at 1080p and then upscaling to 4K, which, by the way, looks way better, like insanely better than just native 1080p. It's way more detailed like this. Yeah, we're getting 100 frames per second on average, which is very, very good. Uh-oh, I think I'm gonna die. No, I'm good. I didn't lose any HP. Good stuff, good stuff. So, what next, guys? I think I want to try it with FSR 3 as well, on performance, okay? Kind of want to see how it looks compared a little bit with DLSS. So yeah, the ghosting is definitely present around the arrow. FPS are similar, I would say, maybe a little bit lower. We were seeing like 100 FPS using DLSS. Not sure about this area though, so I'll say that the performance is similar. But the visuals overall, like at the distance and stuff, clouds still look the same. This looks very, very similar. Unfortunately, it's getting dark, so it's not as pretty as it was when we started, but FPS are similar to what we saw with DLSS once again. It would average probably around like 100 frames per second, I would say, and it looks the same. Like, I cannot tell much of a difference, guys. So I'll say it looks the same, even on performance, which is kind of crazy. Oh, by the way, this wasn't on fixed mode. If I had it on fixed mode with DLSS, let's try that out for a little bit, guys, just to see how it looks. Maybe it looks a little bit worse. Yeah, okay. So the arrow has that little weird thing around it. A little bit, I don't know, pixelated isn't really the word. Getting around the same FPS, though. Maybe it's slightly softer? I don't know. I don't know if there's that much of a difference, honestly, by having this unbiased or fixed. But just stick to biased, since theoretically it actually makes for a better image. Alright, scaling is turned off at the moment, and let's try it at 8K. This is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. What the hell happened? Okay. Ooh, it's a bright image. I don't remember the game to be like this. Okay, it's trying really hard. Oh, 1 FPS with an RTX 4080, my friends. Looking down, it's just like this. It's a white image, basically. What is it trying to do? Obviously, we ran out of VRAM a long time ago. There's nothing to do here at 8K, unfortunately. Maybe use some FSR, but I doubt it's gonna work, or DLSS. I can't even go into the menu at the moment, guys. There's nothing. Okay, guys, so this is low settings, right? I didn't even get inside of the game yet. I set it to 8K and this happened again. I just think at this point that 8K is not possible. Oh, this is a bit of a shame, you know? Oh my god. Because I would be very happy taking some screenshots at 8K resolution, but this is too much. I'm sorry, guys. Let's stop it there. That's enough for this one. Thank you very much for watching this video. And I'll catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.